Welcome to Life Beyond B.S, where we ditch the belief systems and the bullshit and get real about life. Here it's about awareness, choice, and creating joy that actually lasts. No perfection, just honest talk and powerful change. I'm your host, Heather McNally, and let's get into it. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Life Beyond B.S. I'm Heather McNally, your host, and today we have somebody absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to get into this conversation. Her name is Cindy Coe. Cindy Coe is a professional portrait and boudoir photographer based in Massachusetts and the owner of Cindy Coe Photography and Boudoir by Cindy Coe. With nearly a decade of experience, Cindy specializes in creating luxury, guided portrait experiences for women who want to feel confident, seen, and powerful, often for the first time in front of a camera. Her work goes far beyond photos. Through boudoir photography, Cindy helps women confront deeply rooted beliefs about their body image, worthiness, aging, and visibility. She's especially passionate about challenging the idea that boudoir is something to be hidden, sexualized, or reserved for a partner, believing instead that it can be a personal, healing, and empowering experience. With a background in psychology, Cindy brings a unique understanding of mindset, self perception, and transformation into her work. She's also the founder of Cindy Coe's Confidence Corner, a community focused on confidence, self trust, and personal growth for women at every stage of life. When it comes to boudoir, Cindy's mission is simple: help women see themselves differently and carry that confidence far beyond the photo shoot. I love this so much. Cindy and I met through a networking group less than a year ago, and I got involved in her confidence corner. And it has been such a joy to get to know her and start a friendship that I hope will last forever. So, Cindy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Heather, for having me.
I'm so excited. This is going to be fun. And I want you to just tell us a little bit about who is Cindy.
Who is Cindy? It's so interesting when we ask people and
Mm.
they start saying these roles, like I'm a mom and I'm this and I'm that, right? And then it's like, oh, you have to, sometimes I think a little bit deeper, right? I'm like, who am I? What do I like?
Mhm.
But the way I do answer that question is, of course, I'm a photographer. That's my biggest role besides being a mom. You always have to add that in as women, I feel.
Mhm.
But I'm just a person who loves to make other people feel good. I love to meet new people. I love to travel. If you've seen all my posts, I just love
Yeah.
that. I like simple things like rollerblading and bike riding and walking, and a lot of times we do like walking groups with other women and just movement and feeling good. So there's so many complex, I guess, parts to me that aren't quite complex, but are in a sense.
Mhm.
And I still always try to figure out how to answer that question because there's so many different sides to me that I honestly forget about.
You could go on forever about
Yeah.
everything, all your passions and everything. And that I love that because I love to ask people that who are you at your heart and soul as opposed to the accolades. The accolades is great. Everything you do, it's fantastic and it's proof of who you are in life. But we're so much more than the roles that are placed upon us and that we take on. And so I love how you answered that. You are a photographer at heart. Tell me a little bit about what drew you into photography in general.
Sure. If you ask my brother, he'll be saying that I'm the most annoying person that always had the camera in everybody's faces. Back then, it was one-time use cameras that I had. It wasn't like anybody in my family showed me a camera or anything like that. But what drew me in just to actually have a professional camera was I just loved to take pictures and I loved the digital aspect at that point versus going to the store and printing out these photos that you didn't know what was coming out of the camera.
I
And
remember the days.
value on wherever you went, Kmart's employees' faces.
I used to work
So,
at CVS and
yep,
I was always dropping off film, dropping off film.
yep. So that was, and everything is in albums now, and you're like, okay, like everything was printed. So as far as photography in general, I did go study abroad in Costa Rica, and that was like kind of my main focus besides my psychology degree. So I studied a little bit there. And funny thing is, I said, wow, this is really hard. I will just keep shooting on auto. I'm not trying to do anything with this. Like, perfect.
Mhm.
Too hard. Came back, had a baby, and became a momtographer or whatever they call those.
Yep, I love that.
And
Momtographer.
Yeah, and it was really honestly not even to take pictures of my baby, it was to take pictures of the tutus and headbands I was making.
Hmm.
Actually, long story short, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, can you take my daughter's newborn photos?" And I was like, "I'm not a photographer. I can't take your daughter's newborn photos." And I did. And she absolutely still loves them, even though I turned her baby a few different shades of colors, but they were still absolutely beautiful. From there, basically, this passion, a new passion ignited, and I felt like I found my purpose, which is
Mm.
funny because I used to read books on what's my purpose in life. So, long
That's incredible. And that is so important is finding your purpose. I think that that speaks so much to who somebody is at heart more than the roles. It's yes, I'm a photographer, but I'm finding my purpose to show people who they are through the lens. So I'm sure you see every scene differently than people see. So when you started out, I know you had behind the scenes we talked, and you told me you didn't start out with boudoir. How did you start out? Was it infant photography? Did you have a specialization?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like most photographers, you're starting off with, if you are the momtographer, you're starting off with your child.
Hmm.
And so from there, it advances to family portraits, to weddings, to dabbling in events, to everything under the sun, right? Pretty much.
Hmm.
For me, it definitely had to be humans or living beings in photographs. That was big to me. Landscape is just not my thing. It's beautiful. I
Hmm.
admire it, not for me. And so years later, I don't want to say like niche down, but I found out the things that kind of sparked me more. And I still do family portraits. I still do headshots and personal branding. Like that's what I'm known for. And any portraiture with any humans in it. Like I love that. But no, people are not calling me for weddings. Boudoir in general, it's interesting because I don't remember the moment it sparked. Like I knew behind the scenes, I had some sessions where I was testing the waters.
Hmm.
And then I think one year, it must have been, I want to say 2022, where I was like, I'm just going to do a model call and get a bunch of women and photograph this genre and see how it goes. And every photography genre has its training. So, like newborn, you have to do the newborn safety training and learning and all of that. Photographing a headshot is way different than photographing a newborn baby. So, every genre has its own education. And so, I, at that point, didn't necessarily have any boudoir education. It was kind of just like, I'm going to test this out. And it just came so naturally to me. I
Hmm.
absolutely loved it. It went with all my morals, beliefs, like everything inside of me, it just like sparked. And so, of course, I went on and have done some education and still continue to do so. It honestly just came naturally. And I felt like here's the second time that I found my other calling, even though it's
Hmm.
still in the same genre, it's still in photography, but it was just like, oh my gosh, like this is the next step.
That's fantastic. And I think that when something comes naturally to you, you're attracted to it and you end up doing such an amazing job because you love it so much. So it speaks so much to you. What did you find when you first started doing it? You said you had a model call. Was that actual models or just people, anybody who was interested in trying it out?
Good question. So I have this thing where no, they weren't models. They were everyday humans. They were
Hmm.
the neighbors, the local people, anybody in the community that was interested and signed up. But to me, I feel like I photograph regular people. Not that models are not regular people, but they are
Hmm.
trained.
Right.
And so for me, it's important for the everyday average woman to feel good and feel comfortable. So having those model calls, we call them model calls, but it's actual everyday people.
Yeah. Awesome. And did you find right away that women had anxiety about it or limiting beliefs behind the fact that they could be a model, meaning modeling for the lens?
Yeah. So definitely. There's so much to say on this, but
Hmm.
just to say in general, I think women are scared of the word boudoir. I did get plenty of people to sign up, and there's so much deepness that I can go in with that, but so many people have these insecurities. I'm going to go a little bit beyond that because
Hmm.
I want to talk about how even quickly on City Coast Conference Corner, it was meant to be a boudoir group. And the word
Oh,
boudoir
okay.
was in the title of the group, and nobody wanted to join. It was tough to get people to join. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this because people are scared of this boudoir genre? And it's interesting because it shifted from the boudoir to Cindy Coast Conference Corner, and just everything has shifted. But
Hmm.
my other point is too, women, say, for example, if I have a table and I'm at an event and women see photographs of other women or boudoir or anything like that, The comments they make walking by
Mm.
that have nothing to do with me, it has to do with them, are so heartbreaking sometimes. It's like, oh, I could never do that. Oh, I could never look like that. And I specifically have what I call a casual to camera ready album sitting on the table so that people can see, hey, this is what we look like every day. This is casual. And then this is like the glam look because we all
Right.
have. I mean, I don't look pretty every day. I look like a gremlin sometimes, and it's okay. That's, life beyond the bullshit. We do not look gorgeous all the time. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Maybe the models do. I don't know, but still. So it's like, the message I want to send to the women, you know what? I send them so much love from the table when I'm sitting there, and I just send them so much love.
Hmm.
There's too many women doing that. I want to share the message of really, really practicing this self-love and stop saying these things to ourselves because it's not helping us. And you would not say that to somebody you loved.
Right. And I love that you have the book that shows this is how we started, this is where we ended up, and maybe the whole thing in between. But I love that because then somebody can actually see themselves in somebody that you've done the before to the after and see that they could go from here to there. What do you find is something that's like the most self-conscious thing that people have about themselves? Are they saying, "Oh, I'll do it when I lose weight, when I feel better, when I get a haircut, when I do this?" That's always an excuse that I find that with my clients is, "I'll do it when."
I'm going to use this phrase. If I had a nickel for every time, I'd be in like millions, millions.
Hmm.
Yes. Nowadays, when I pick up the phone and a woman says it, I'm like, I've heard it all. Yes. It's when I lose weight, anything you could think of. But the biggest one is when I lose weight, when I get rid of my belly, or it's always something.
The thing is that people need to see how beautiful they are now
Yes.
because unfortunately I lost my mom. And through losing my mom, almost like 9 years ago now, I could see the world differently. And that's one of the things that I'm so grateful for. Not that she passed, but that I was able to see so much through her eyes and through the experience of things that she couldn't do, things that she'd never do again, all that kind of stuff to make me say, what am I waiting for? I need to do this now. And there's so many women, especially moms, who we're the one behind the camera, not professionally, but the iPhone, whatever it is, taking pictures of our kids, taking pictures of family. We don't want to be in the pictures. We want them. But they're going to want pictures of us someday. And they're going to want the photos of the whole family. They're going to want all those things. What do you say when someone says these things to them? How do you hold their hand to get them to hear, do this now? You've got this. You're beautiful.
Sure. Depends. Like online, I'm always posting messages just saying this is the time now. We don't know what tomorrow is. If it's in person, like it's just chatting. I want to know where somebody's mindset's coming from because we all have somewhere that stems from. It didn't just show up out of nowhere. So
Hmm.
every woman, the chat will be different, right? Some
Yeah.
people, I'll literally say, yes, I've heard this all before. This is how every woman feels. This is not new. But I think the most important is really individually speaking to each woman and understanding where she in particular is coming from and just being there for her and validating. I understand how that feels. That can feel scary. And if they
Yeah.
did call me for a session and they're just inquiring, you're calling for a reason or you're asking questions for a reason. And
Mhm.
we can wait. The thing is, if we look back 20 years ago and we look at photos, we're like, oh my gosh, I looked amazing. What was I complaining about? 20 years from now, you're going to say the same thing. So it's
Very
like,
true.
it's when are you going to accept yourself?
Hmm.
I've done photos when I was heavier, when I was thinner, and everyone, I have my own unique beauty in them. And that's how I view it.
Absolutely. There are many different poses that you can put women into that maybe they're going to feel more comfortable versus they think that they're going to look better. And you have the eye for this, so you can say, well, this is how this is going to look, and let me do it and show you. Do you really individualize that for each person?
Good question. So everybody is individual because everybody's body type is different. So all the poses are not going to be the same. All the outfits aren't going to be the same. So if somebody is doing a custom session, for example, I do a wardrobe consult. There are pieces of lingerie, if they want to go lingerie route, right, that will work on every body. And there are others that will work for some and won't work for others. The other thing is individually looking at what is somebody's comfort zones and what do they want to emphasize and de-emphasize, right? Because it could be a heavier person where they are like, you know what, I love my stomach and I love myself and I want to wear a two-piece. And I'm like, you go, girl. Like, let's do
Mhm.
this, right? So it will be a different type of session. Now there might be somebody who's like, oh, my tummy, and that's a lot of women's area. So I always reassure them it's not only about the posing, it's about the lighting, it's about every little aspect of it. So when I have those individual talks, then I kind of know, okay, what am I emphasizing on this person? What am I de-emphasizing in their eyes? But a lot of times too, if somebody's super scared or when you are put in a pose, you don't know what you look like. It feels weird.
Yep.
You're like, I feel stupid. And so I will show them the back of the camera and say, this is you. And they're like, holy shit, like what? And then from then on, they don't question me. They get into
Yeah.
the damn pose and that's it.
Yeah. I think that's great that you show that to them so that they can see through your eyes what you're seeing. And you're a professional, so you know how to do this, get the right angles, the right lighting, the right outfit, the right pose. So anybody who's doing something, you want professional looking photos, you want to look really
Trust the
good and feel good
process.
about yourself, go see a professional photographer who does this and can see all of those pieces coming together. Do they bring their own lingerie and props and things like that, or do you have some of that stuff there? How does that work?
Yeah, so good question. There are some studios that have lingerie, but I don't purposely. I just feel kind of funny about people putting on a full lingerie and then washing it. That's
Yeah.
just me personally. However, we do the wardrobe consult, so they do buy their own like full pieces of lingerie and the shoes. As far as props, it depends. Like if they want something in particular, which I'd say majority not, they're coming in scared and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, don't you worry, I got you. So yes, we use like some handcuffs and things like that, but it of course depends on the individual woman. Some women are what we call mild, medium, and spicy. So there's different types of sessions there. So props and stuff I have. And then I do have some pieces that are like more robe type photo pieces that I photograph. We use the sheets. So honestly, if somebody came in with absolutely nothing, it would be totally fine. We would make it work in so many different ways.
That's great. I love that. And I love your personality is so reassuring and definitely you're very professional and it's obvious what you're saying and doing. So I'm sure that that helps put people at ease. Have you had people come in and they're all excited about it until they get there and then they freeze?
I've had people that are excited but scared and they come in and thankfully first thing is hair and makeup. So you
Mm,
have that time to just, relax. And honestly, when you're in a custom session, for example, then we've already met like 2 weeks
mhm.
ahead. So you've seen my face, right? You know me, but yes, you can still come in nervous, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a calming presence where I don't let that energy get to me because
Mhm.
I'm there to support you. So I need to have that calm, grounded energy, and you'll take on my energy. And that's the whole thing. And my makeup artist, she's amazing. So they're laughing, they're having some bubbly, they're just
Mhm.
enjoying their time. And I'm there reassuring, checking out their outfits, making sure we have everything and setting everything up. Yes, first set, I always tell people you're going to be nervous. By
Mhm.
the second set, they don't even put on a robe to come into the studio room. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
they're
love
all
that.
comfortable.
And it's all about energy and vibing, right? So
100%.
whatever energy you're at, hopefully if they come in with that nervous energy, they're not sure, then you have that confident energy of bringing light and beauty and happiness into this session. You'll help raise their vibration, which I think is fantastic. When women who have been anxious, who doubted, and you do the photography and you show them that first picture or two and they start to get more comfortable, how do they feel usually when they get to see the final product?
I love that's my favorite part. So typically during that wardrobe consultation, we actually set your viewing and ordering date. So we already know it ahead of time. So you have the session and say it could literally be the next day, it could be 3 days later, it could be a week later, depending on schedules. And we sit down together and we look at the images and we decide which ones are going to go in the album or whatever we talked about. And just the reactions. That's what I want to hear. That, oh my God, that's me. Oh my
Mm.
God, I love this. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
There's so much love and tears. Like people
Oh.
cry. I have my tissue box. It's so beautiful. And
Mm.
then that's just one piece, Heather, because that's the viewing and ordering. Now you still have another piece where you're coming to pick up your album that's fully created for you. Or if you're buying wall art, we're installing it for you. But that piece is even more beautiful too, because now they're holding the tangible item. And
Hmm.
then it's just like more tears and the
Yeah.
thank yous. And it fills my heart from a selfish standpoint. It fills my heart because it's just so beautiful. And the
Mm.
fact that they're seeing themselves in this light because people don't see themselves. You're not walking around from different angles of your body. You have no idea what your booty looks like from your favorite person's angle.
Right. Right.
So it just, I love it. I think it's so beautiful.
That is so beautiful. Do you ever have couples come in together? Like, say, she came in, did her photo session, and then does the partner ever come in with them to help choose? Is it usually just the woman themselves if they have a partner? Or do you have a lot that are giving gifts and they don't want them to see it? Do you find a whole mix?
Good question. So, my number one thing, and this is probably a me thing, I love for the woman to do it for themselves.
Hmm.
Number one, if you want to gift it to a partner and it is a gift, that is totally fine. But number one, I want you to do it for you because I think that is so important. And I feel like the partner is just a bonus. I typically don't recommend that. That can go in many different ways. I don't know the partner typically. And so I don't know the personality. It could be the most amazing partner that's super supportive. And I've had situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, which is a whole nother, I don't want to ruin the vibe right now.
Right.
So it's very hard in that terms. Like, but I'd say most of the time my boundary is you come in, I'm here to help you decide. And then, your partner is going to love whatever you end up getting anyways.
Mhm.
So.
And this is beautiful because it's still all about the woman and all about making her feel good and feel strong and feel confident and feel beautiful, which she may never have felt in her life, or she may have started to step into, or maybe she knows she's beautiful and strong and confident. But you're giving them such a great experience. So let's talk a little bit about Boudoir because you said you'll be at a table and people will walk by and make comments. And I'm sure there are comments about, oh, I could never do that because I don't feel good about myself. And it gets to a whole level of belief systems and what they've been taught about
Well,
themselves and society has put on them and what women are supposed to be. But do you have the people that judge?
I'm so oblivious. My wife calls me oblivious. And I don't know if I openly choose to ignore those things on a subconscious level. I really don't pay attention. If somebody judges, they typically won't say it to me. If they
Hmm.
do, I just send them love because everybody has their viewpoints, their points of view for whatever reason. And some people, maybe they grew up and it's very uncomfortable for them. And maybe they've
Hmm.
been in situations where there's a reason for that. So, I just, again, I feel like I just send love to people because there's nothing I can do about that. I'm there
Right.
to empower and show women love. And that's my purpose in this industry. I know other boudoir photographers are different, but
Mm.
that's the energy I'm going to put out regardless.
That's a great energy. It's positive. It's not adding to what maybe their judgment is about. And a lot of times when people are judging, it's about themselves. It's about how they feel about themselves. I'll be honest with you, when I was in a really, really bad place in my life, I would look at women sometimes who were absolutely stunning and had the right body according to society that I didn't have. And I'd be like, ugh, I hate her. And I can now say, I'm so sorry that you felt that way because that really was you hating yourself. So that comes into play a lot when it comes to photography in general. When people see themselves, they're so harsh and judgmental sometimes. And then they can have this experience with you and they can look at it and say, wow, I look amazing. I can't even believe that's me. And I just think that's such a great thing to see. So you've gone to other countries and done photography. Can you tell me, do you see a difference in societal expectations or beliefs of boudoir or even photography in general that other countries hold versus the US?
Yeah. So I could probably say I'm oblivious to a lot of things because I choose not to pay attention. I think everybody just has different standards. And America in general, right? If you look at even movies, I
Mm.
get banned so much on like TikTok and Facebook and stuff. And it's with pieces that you'd wear less at a beach. But we're so uncomfortable in the US to look at bodies.
Hmm.
And, we sexualize everything. And yes, boudoir
Yes.
photos can be sensual and sexy, but they can be something as simple as you wearing a pair of jeans and just showing the sculpture of your body. So there's so many sides to it. If somebody does want to be a little bit sexier and use handcuffs and stuff, maybe they want that fun side of them. And the other thing is, you don't have to post those photos anywhere. These could be completely private. So for me, unless you're signing a model release, I'm not putting your images out there.
Hmm.
But yes, the beauty standards are different. I will share a quick experience. It was not a boudoir session, but my wife and I went to Thailand for our honeymoon and we did photographs together. And I always hire a hair and makeup artist for me. And she did my makeup. And then when I looked, I'm like, I'm in Asia, by the way, right? Thailand. I'm like, wow, I'm really white. Like I am pale. And I was like, I thought it was so beautiful because I'm like, you know what? That's their standard of beauty that they had. And I went with it and I felt great because I'm open to those things. And I think it's just so fun. You can be somewhere else and it's just like, this is a different beauty standard and that's
Right.
okay.
It's a different beauty standard. It's a different side of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different experience. And I feel like this country, everything is about sexuality, commercials, magazines, everything you see. However, if you start talking about sexuality or show normal people, the regular people that aren't models and that aren't actors and actresses, in any kind of sensual or sexual pose, people kind of poo-poo on that. And I think it's too bad because I think it's all about sexuality, sex sells, that's what you always hear, but at the same time, don't talk about it. Don't
Hmm.
talk about it. And I think if we could be much more open about it, it wouldn't be such a taboo topic. We all have so many different parts and pieces to us, like you were talking about when you were talking about your identity and who you are. And we all have these parts and pieces to us. It should be normal.
Absolutely. And I feel like so many women say, I can't do sexy.
Hmm.
That's the other thing. I think women are scared. And my thing is too, like, you're not a model when you come in. I mean, for the most part, right? And I train everybody from facial expression to everything. The biggest thing is I don't know how to be sexy.
Mm.
We all, especially if we had kids, we've all been through those,
Right.
we've all had it. So it's like, yes, you can be sexy, but you
Mhm.
lost that sexiness for some reason, or you're
Right.
scared, or somebody put you down, or you had a kid and don't feel sexy, or you feel like you lost yourself, whatever reason it is. Maybe it's something totally different. There is a sexy side to us.
Mhm.
And even if you're not doing a boudoir photo, I recommend putting on a very sexy song to you and like moving your body in a room alone in front of the mirror, or not even in front of the mirror. Close your eyes, and just feel the rhythm and just
Right.
allow yourself. And if you get red and flustered and embarrassed, nobody's there watching, but just allow yourself to feel that.
Yeah. And we have to embrace all of us. And
Yes.
that is the practical side, the mom, the wife, the sibling, the daughter, the son, all of those things. But there's also a sexual part to all of us. Okay. From your side of the lens, you see a different side of people than they see of themselves. So, what have you actually noticed that women start to see about themselves after doing photography with you, whether it be boudoir or headshots for a professional job or whatever, branding?
I would say most of my clients, and I think they could speak for themselves too,
Mm,
would use transformative transformation for themselves. And whether it is something as simple as a headshot, I've had people come and sit in the hair and makeup chair terrified of a headshot. And to
mm,
me, they say it that way, but it's true. You can become terrified of this thing. And so many people feel like I'm not photogenic. I don't look good in front of the camera, right? And just allowing them to see themselves in that different light. There's something that I hope I'm not going to butcher, but I'm going to share this with you. So
please.
when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're seeing yourself reversed from how the person in front of you is seeing you. I think most people know that. What we love on our phones, for example, is that mirror feature, right? So when
Mhm.
we're taking a selfie the way we see like ourselves, right? If you reverse that, you're almost uncomfortable because that is not the way you view yourself. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, you can see which eye is bigger than the other, which lip goes up, which you see all your flaws, but nobody else sees them. So it's like this whole psychological thing. You're not looking in the mirror and seeing that person, you're seeing the flip. So you're like, oh my God, you're terrified.
Hmm.
So I highly recommend that people take photos of themselves, not the selfie one where it's mirrored, but one where they can get comfortable with how they look to another person because your
Hmm.
brain needs to get used to that. And
Yeah.
so that's why sometimes we feel like we don't look good in photos because we're looking at ourselves like a point of view of another person in which we
Hmm.
recognize.
Yeah. So you've talked about how you have the Confidence Corner on Facebook, and you started out as a boudoir group. That's what it was intended. Obviously, it changed, and that's life, right? We change.
Yep.
Everybody ages, everybody changes their styles, whether it be hair, clothes, whatever. Our brains tell us that we're not safe if there's something new. So a lot of times we have our self-image issues, and then we also are walking in and we're saying that this isn't safe because it's unknown. I've never done this. I have a fear. So why do you feel like safety is such an ingredient for confidence?
That's a good question. Like you said, we have to feel safe in order to feel comfortable and secure, right? And it's like if you don't have that safety net, again, that fear factor comes up, right? So it's like a fight or flight response.
Hmm.
So in order to feel good, you have to like why are you feeling that way? What is causing that fear? What is causing that concern?
Hmm.
So getting through those things, like you really have to question yourself and dig a little bit deeper. And not everybody has that ability to do that. Sometimes that's a fear too. So it's
Hmm.
like taking those little baby steps into what is it? Or even starting off like, okay, let's talk about what I like about myself.
Hmm.
Let's start saying little positive things and what is it about me that is good? What somebody, you have to have something you like on your body, for example, right? Your eyes. It could be so
Yeah.
simple, like your eyes. It could be anything, your ears, the most basic things.
Hmm.
And just slowly removing those little shells and accepting every part of yourself to feel that confidence, to feel that security.
Yep. It starts small.
Right.
You can start very small. It's all about acknowledgement. It's all about seeing it. You have to become aware. You have to acknowledge something. And then, okay, I like my eyes. And then maybe you can start on, oh, I like how my neck sits on my, or I like my shoulders, anything. And then you start to build that confidence. Then you can see something that you like better than you thought you did. And so fear is our brain trying to keep us safe. But once you start to look at a situation and say, well, I've been through hard things before, so I can do this. So I think that's a big thing with if somebody's trying to learn how to love themselves, to be able to do the boudoir photography or even a headshot, start out where you're comfortable, but somebody like you to be able to help somebody see themselves in a different, through a different lens, literally, and start to see the things about themselves that are beautiful. Because I can tell you, I always hated photos of myself. I still don't always love them, but I have started to be able to pick things and say, oh, I was confident that day. I can see it in the photo because I'm not sitting there with my shoulders slumped or my head down. I'm sitting up and I'm smiling and I actually see my eyes smiling. So if people can see those things that you can bring for them and they can start to see that, then they can build upon that even and use those photos as the beginning of their confidence to be able to step into the next part, to be able to accept something else about themselves. Do you see that happening with women that you photograph?
I do. And I hear stories from them. And even if you read some reviews, they say that they feel so much better. They feel more confident, that they feel sexier. I'll tell you also, my one of my boudoir sessions, I had my pole dancing class after. Why would you book a fitness class after a boudoir session? I don't know. Right? And I will tell you, my instructor that day goes, what did you do this morning? Because you're like at your best ever.
Oh,
And so even for me as a photographer, I'm like, I'm like, I feel damn good, you know?
yeah.
So there's just something so transformative for every woman. It's so different that like you have to experience it yourself.
Mm.
And you just feel sexy in a whole different way. You see yourself in a different light. You feel good. You better walk out of my studio feeling good because if not, then I did not do my job. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's not just a beautiful thing, but just so much fun.
Yeah.
These women who walk in and they may feel anxious at first. Do you find that by the end they're just having fun with it?
Like I told you, they don't even come in with the robe anymore.
Yeah.
They're
That's
just
so
having fun.
fun. And they get to show a different side of who they are. Maybe that starts to get them in touch with who they are, who they want to be. Do you have a lot of people that come in and do boudoir and then come back and do it again at another point?
Oh, yes. I have a lot of repeat clients and I love
Oh,
them. So
that's
I
great.
have clients who sometimes do more than one session in the year. I have clients that come back every year, and it's just so fun because we get to create something different with them.
Mhm,
And it just becomes like this fun thing because they have one session and then we want to create something different for their next session. So now we're collaborating on fun ideas. I'm designing different things for them. Sometimes, depending on the outfit, I might visualize something totally different. The sky's the limit. The sky
yeah.
is the limit. So, yes, we have
Yeah.
tons that come
Yeah.
back.
Being a photographer, have you ever felt those things? The anxiety, the I don't want to have my photograph taken, all of it.
I like to be in front of the camera. So I'm trying to think nowadays I'm fine, but yes, I go through the same things and I put myself in those positions every year, not just to
Mhm.
have my photographs taken, but to also feel the client experience
Yeah.
and make sure I'm on top of everything because I think the more sometimes we do something and we get comfortable and we might let things slip. So it's like having that experience for myself to okay, making sure that I'm still making the or best experience for my client that I can give them at the time. There are moments of, do I look okay? Is my hair okay?
Mm,
Did she put it in the right place? But I have to say that every photographer that I've hired, I am the type that I'm going to trust them because I've
mhm.
placed my trust in them. It doesn't matter if I'm a photographer. I don't want to micromanage. I've come to you with full trust
Right.
and I'm off the clock. So
Yeah.
please do
Yeah.
your thing. So it
Hmm.
is great. I think the most important thing is obviously for the boudoir specifically and other genres as well, having that person that you're comfortable with and
Hmm.
having you want to feel safe. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel like this person will make you feel good. So there are a lot of factors when it comes to boudoir session that you have to consider.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think that is so important to understand both sides of it. Of course, you're the professional. Of course, you know what you're doing. You've learned educational wise, you've learned experience wise, but also being on the other side and knowing what your clients are experiencing. And I feel the same way about what I do with life coaching, speaking, everything. I love to know that I've been through it, and so I'm not just speaking from education, I'm speaking from life experience. I'm speaking from understanding your perspective. So I think that's fabulous. And of course, then you get the fun photos.
Yeah. I'd love to share too. I'm not perfect. I have my own insecurities. And just to share too, when I look at my photographs, I know that like one side of my lip is a little bit lower than the other. And that's something I notice, right? And I see that in photographs. And yes, could you easily manipulate that in Photoshop? Absolutely. But I've learned not to because I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? That's me. That's me.
Right.
Some women will want a little more retouching than others, and that's totally fine. That's art. You can
Mhm.
create whatever the heck you want to create. But I tend to find that I kind of want mine a little bit lightly edited, and I know some photographers still go heavy-handed. That's whatever. But when I do my own, for example, or if I photograph myself, then it's on the lighter side, just because women are mostly concerned about like cellulite and things like that, and taking off that robe too in front of a person and exposing everything that it's like maybe your spouse just has seen and you won't go out in public like
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
I'm so used to it that I think they just see my face. There's no judgment. I've seen
Mhm.
so many bodies. It's like going to the doctor that you're not phased by it. You see the beauty in everybody. So it's kind of
Right.
just like you let them go through whatever they're going through in their mind and they feel the energy and the reassurance. And then that's when everything becomes like grounded and stable. And that's
Mm.
when the person feels comfortable and now they're ready to be in their zone.
Yeah.
And the sexy music I play helps.
Oh, I love that. I love the music because that can change. Music alone can change somebody's complete vibe, complete. Yeah. I think it's great. I think that for me, I know right now I'm having a little anxiety because I've had some physical issues because of surgeries that I've gone through in the last 2 years that have caused me to be much less mobile. So I haven't been able to do the same exercising. I've gained weight. Now I'm going next weekend to give a speech, and I'm anxious about my outfits. I'm anxious about there's going to be photographers and creating my speaker reel and all that. But at the same time, this is who I am. And so I learned a number of years ago that I don't really care about the perfect photo, the perfect family photo, as much as I care about capturing who my family is, who my friends are, who I am. And a professional photographer is different, of course, than candids that I'm taking on my iPhone, but I love those as well. The candid photos of my kids having a fit or laughing to the point where they're crying or anything like that, because I love to look at those and say that's who they were. And that's who they were at this time. And actually, my youngest loves to see pictures of himself when he was younger. So every time Facebook Memories comes up and there's a photo of him when he was younger, I send it to him and he's like, "Oh my God, that's so cute." And I'm like, "I know."
I
So,
love it.
being a photographer, you can see so much beauty in somebody and you can see unique things in them, talents, certain ways that their eyes shine, things like that. And I think that if you can capture that and show that to them and let them see that, that right there alone is worth getting a photographer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you do for education. What are you looking for when you're thinking, I want to take this to the next level? I want to learn new skills.
Yeah. So I believe in ongoing continuous education.
Mm.
And then we can have kind of too much where there's a lot of voices, but I always go on conferences every year. So typically my January and February, there's always at least a week that I'm away. I was just away in Costa Rica for specifically a boudoir retreat this time. And just meeting other professionals in my industry that are on the same page as me, or that, we can obviously learn things from each other. There's always something to learn. And the industries and the world is always changing. So I feel like you kind of also have to keep up with what's going on. So, yeah, I'm always taken on education, and I buy courses online as well. And then I make things my own because, like I said, there could be a lot of voices. It could become overwhelming when you're receiving a lot of different information. So I think the most important is continuing to educate yourself, but also continuing to make sure that your voice is still the voice of everything you're doing.
Right. Because if you're acting through somebody else's voice, you're not being yourself. You're not being true to yourself. So it's not going to come across as real
Right.
or as authentic. And it will show in the way you approach it. Have you ever had anybody like say, I can't do this and stop?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
No, but if I did, oh my gosh, I picture it like somebody doing that and me grabbing their hands and looking into their eyes and like sitting down and having a heart to heart
Mm,
and then continuing the session from there because they're going to feel so good they'll want to do it. That's what
yeah,
I pictured when you said that, but it's never happened.
that's good. Have you ever had anybody get really emotional during it and you kind of have to talk them down and reassess their nervous system?
Yes, I get it to the point where yes, there's tears in the eyes and I'm like, "Okay, we're going to go into a whole different thing because we're not going to ruin your makeup. We can cry after like do do do, here's the energy, put the
Yeah,
music up. All right. Da da da.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not doing this right
I
now.
bet
This
you
is
switch
good.
it really quickly
Oh,
too.
I do.
Your energy comes through just this conversation. And I can imagine it's almost 10 times, more, or should I say, you've got, amplification of your energy coming out with the music, with the makeup and hair, all the people that are kind of primping somebody. It must feel amazing to have that kind of primping process and stepping into this other version of yourself that it's still you, but it's another version of you. Like you said, we all have
Yeah,
all these different versions of us, right?
so many.
Yeah. Tell me some of your favorite things about just working with women in this kind of situation. And it could be boudoir, but it can also be headshots. What do you just love? What are the things that you see that you love that just make you feel really good?
It's funny because I was at a meeting today and I actually talked about that. Just the energy, the ones that come in with that fear in their eyes, and the ones that are, I don't want to say beating themselves up because it's awful, but like the ones who need that hand holding, right? That want to see themselves in that more beautiful light.
Hmm.
And seeing that transformation and seeing that motion and like going through the entire process with them, because this isn't just come into the studio, be photographed, call it a day. We're going through a whole entire process that I will tell you, most of my clients become my friends, or at least we're on each other's Facebooks. I'm reaching out to see how they're doing. Like it becomes a relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that sparks my heart, you know?
Yeah.
So in
And
whatever way,
yeah,
yeah.
I can see it in you. I can see it in your body, but in your face, like you're lighting up. And I think that that's awesome. How do you see the effects of a boudoir session showing up in women's lives afterwards, like in relationships and their work and just how they present themselves? Do you see a change?
I wish that I could follow every client and give you a
Mm.
like, direct answer because I would like to know that. Maybe it should be like an after questionnaire.
Yeah.
However, I can speak on two experiences where the clients have spoken out themselves and have said that it has been a huge, huge life changer. One client in particular, she's very vocal and will say her mother always said she had these big thighs and she always thought of herself as these big thighs. And now she sees herself in photographs and is like, no, I'm beautiful.
Mm.
Like this is me. And then another person, this one sparks my heart because they tell me this every time. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. And they went into modeling. Like they saw themselves in a whole different light, went on to model, be a speaker, and is just putting their life in a whole different career and different direction. And they say, Cindy, this is all because of you. I'm like, no way, stop it. I'm like, I'm not going to take all that credit, but it's just so heartwarming because sometimes in this industry, you feel like, am I helping anybody? What am I doing? Sometimes you're like, oh, I feel like I'm taking just photos. It's not that. And I know it deep down, it's not that. And so when I hear these testimonials, when I read the reviews, it always keeps me going
Mm.
because that is something I look at and I don't take for granted. I think it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. And I've actually framed some of my clients' words. I have them in frames in my office because I
I love that.
yeah.
Everybody is hoping to find purpose. Everybody's hoping that what they do in their lives can help bring purpose to other people, bring light to other people. And I think that what you're doing is not just photographing, it's not just one-time experience, it's not just, oh, this is what you get, here's your result, here's your photos. First of all, you're capturing moments in time, but you're truly making them feel so beautiful. And that doesn't mean just physically, it's inside and out. It speaks to who they are. And it hopefully is helping break some of those belief systems that they have about, I'm too big, I'm too small. There are women out there that feel that they're too small also, that don't have muscle tone, they think, or they don't have, you hear this all the time, women want boob jobs because they feel like, oh, well, I don't have anything. You're bringing so much to their lives and bringing a great experience, hopefully showing them that they're so much more than they thought they were, and the friendship and the experience of having somebody love on them. Because that's so important in this whole situation, I think, is that you're loving on them and maybe they don't get that, or maybe they haven't felt that about themselves ever.
I will tell you, some people are like, oh, you say that to everybody. And I'm like, there might be some things that I do say to people because I mean it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying this to you. I'm not saying this to you to just say it. I'm saying this to you because, hot damn, can you look at the back of the camera? Like, this is you. And
Mm-hmm.
I never want to ever make somebody feel like, oh, she's just saying that.
Yeah.
No, you better feel my energy and you better know, like, I'm saying this because you need to look at this.
Yeah. But you're showing them a part of who they are that maybe they didn't see for themselves. That's so meaningful. That's incredible. Tell me one or two things that you think that you would suggest to women who are doubting themselves, even having a headshot taken, never mind the boudoir, but they want to take that leap, but they're not sure. What would you say?
Yeah, and for some people, it's self-confidence. For some people, it's investment. And sometimes it's combined, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what if I don't love the photos and here I am spending so much money, right? That's a huge, huge factor. And I've never had a situation ever, especially boudoir. let's say, that somebody didn't love the photos. There have been situations on other hands. It's always been good feedback, good responses with my boudoir genre, especially. I've never had a boudoir client that didn't love their
Yeah.
images. I would say most of the women that come in, they absolutely love their images. To be honest, like if somebody truly, truly didn't love their images, I think I would either dig deeper into why or offer maybe a retake, or there's something deeper than that. I haven't had that happen in a sense of like a boudoir genre where somebody didn't love their images and feel great about themselves in that particular genre. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I would kind of dig deeper. I want to say that I think you'll love your images. I'm so confident that you will love your images, that take the risk, take
Yeah.
the risk. In worst case scenario, we'll figure it out, but
Hmm.
take the risk. Don't be scared because this could be something that you're holding back and you're fearing. And it could be something that could be absolutely life-changing for you. So it's
Hmm.
like in life, right? We take risks with so many things. So it's like, take the risk.
Yeah. And chances are, with a true professional like you doing the work and working with the client, you're going to come up with just beauty, so much beauty. And I just think that that's incredible. Have you ever had anybody come back to you and tell you, like, oh, my spouse absolutely loved them. They were totally shocked I did this. They couldn't believe I did it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like more than my share of times. Absolutely.
that's fun. You must feel so great walking out of a session where a woman maybe came in anxious, not 100% sure of herself, a little bit doubting that she can do this, that the pictures are going to come out nice, to the end of it where they're beaming. And I just think that's such an incredible thing. When it comes to coming home to your body, what does that mean to you in terms of the photography?
Like I said earlier, it's that taking those little times and realizing like what little things in your body, just having that gratitude. Here's one thing I'll tell you. My daughter, right? She's turning 10 and we do this exercise where it's like, okay, we're going to look in the mirror and let's thank our legs today. Let's thank our legs for allowing us to walk today. Let's thank our eyes that we saw so many beautiful things. So it's just like thanking each piece of your body. I feel like that kind of speaks to me in coming into your body, right? Loving yourself, finding those pieces of speaking well to yourself, telling yourself thank you for every
Mhm,
part, for every that you woke up today, that you're breathing. I mean, just take those little small steps
mhm,
to go into your body and to learn to have that confidence and feel comfortable because confidence looks beautiful.
mhm.
Confidence shows. Confidence is, I feel like, a physical thing. And when you
Well,
have that confidence, you attract so much good.
yeah,
So
this is my feeling about confidence. Confidence is action. When you do, you start to learn that you can, and you start to believe in yourself more, and it shows up in every single way. So the confidence that you gain from saying, yes, I can do this, and then doing it and proving it to yourself builds more confidence, which builds more, yes, I can, and I'm going to do it, which builds more confidence. And so going into a photo shoot, whether it's a headshot, whether it's a family photo shoot or a boudoir, I think that it's going to build your confidence because you prove to yourself that you can do something that maybe you doubted you could do. You look at these photos and you can say, wow, that's me, and I did that. And it just starts to glow out of you. You just start to see it everywhere. And I think that when you start to have that confidence, it's going to build your life. It builds it so much bigger. So, speaking of building, you've got this 10-year-old daughter. Does she love having her photo taken, or does she say, oh, no, not again, mom?
like every photographer's child, they get to a point where they're like, oh, my daughter, like everybody's, I'm sure, is to the point where it's on her terms.
Hmm.
And one day I was sitting in the living room and she's like, okay, I'm dressed. I'm ready for a photo shoot. I'm like, I'm sitting in my pajamas. Like, what do you mean you're ready for a photo shoot? You weren't ready when I asked you a week ago when I needed some shots. So I did. I stopped everything and we had this. amazing session. And like, just she pretty much dictated the session. Like, those were her poses, her personality. And I was just like blown away.
Wow.
I wanted to share the images. I couldn't wait. And I'm like, I can't even take the credit for half the stuff because I'm like, this was her.
Yeah.
So it's on her terms, on her own time.
Of course.
That's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. My kids, after a while, started getting really annoyed with me taking photos. And I finally had to say to them, you know what? These are my memories. And these are something that you probably will love to look at someday. Like I said, my son loves seeing these pictures of him when he was younger. And he'll even say, that was so cute. And I'm like, I know. But I think that whether they're candid shots by a mom or they're professional photos from somebody like you, it's capturing not just a moment of time, but it's capturing who you are, the essence of who you are. And if you've got a really good photographer like you taking these photos, you're pulling that out of somebody because it's not just taking pictures. Anybody can do that.
Right.
You are pulling out the person for who they are, who they maybe know they are deep down inside, but they're afraid to let people see that. And I think that is so special.
And Heather, I do want to share, me and my family do photographs, family portraits every year. And there is a study that says when children see themselves on the walls, their photographs on the walls, that builds confidence and that shows that they're in a safe space.
Mm.
And so that's a huge thing. And, my walls are plastered.
Yeah.
They're plastered probably more than I tell my client to plaster theirs, but I absolutely have so much joy walking into
Mm.
a room and seeing this huge museum size with museum quality frame on the wall of my daughter and our family. And it's just, there's something about that feeling that is just cozy.
Yeah, yeah. It's cozy. It's, I'm sure seeing those moments that you've had where you say, oh, I remember doing that. It brings back all the memories of it, especially if it's a few years ago. Yeah, yeah. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. This has just been so much fun. I could ask you 1,000 more questions, and maybe we'll come back and do this all over again another time. But in the meantime, one last question for you. What does it look like to live a life beyond BS for you? What does that mean to you?
Freedom. Freedom, because it is me being myself, me being true to what I want and not whether it was my upbringing, people telling me what to do or telling me what to want. Even again, back to that boudoir genre, I remember one time a client saying, who was a longtime friend, my sister saw your boudoir portraits and was saying, what is Cindy doing? And this is in the beginning of that. And to me, I don't care because most of the time, nobody's going to say anything to my face. And if they did, again, I am so oblivious, which probably is good to an extent. And to me, it's just freedom. I want to live my life. I want to do the things I want to do. Who's to say what's right and wrong? I only have one life as far as I know.
Mhm.
And I want to live it. I want to live it the way I want to live it. And as long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm making people feel great and I feel great, then we all live and it becomes this big energetic field where everything's just awesome.
Everything is energy, and that's just so beautiful. And I love that because one of my core values is freedom, which when I sat down to do my core values evaluation and see where I had my top five, I was surprised that freedom came in there because I kind of always like that's an assumption, right? Like I live free. It turns out freedom is a huge, huge one for me. So I love that that's what comes up. Thank you.
Thank you for having me again. This was awesome.
This was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me and with Cindy. My hope is that you walk away knowing you have the power to choose differently. Go live fully, freely, and unapologetically. Your life beyond BS starts now. I'm so grateful you were here today. Remember, your peace, joy, and happiness aren't found in the BS. They're found in your choices. If this episode spoke to you, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe, and share it with a friend. For ways to connect or work with me, check the show notes or visit heathermcnally.com. Until next time, keep choosing you and keep living your life beyond BS.